Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all of you here, and in particular Professor Yunus, who will give the honorary lecture during lunchtime now. I welcome the President Martin Vetterli, the complete direction of EPFL, lots of honorary guests. Thank you for coming, and of course, in particular, the students, because this lecture should be particularly for you. We want to open your eyes to some important aspects in the business world, in the world as such, to actually advance social impact on a global scale, on a local scale. And therefore, we have the honor of presenting Professor Yunus to you, who's actually a Nobel Prize winner 2006, and he will be introduced later on by a student. Let me quickly introduce some ideas that frame the discussion of this afternoon. Yeah? You as a student, you can ask yourself, you're the young generation leading the way. Where would you want to be in 2030, and what would you like the world to be in 2030? And actually the UN has some sustainable development goals. You'll see them all here. I don't have the time to go through all of them. These goals are massive goals, great challenges for society that help us secure the survival of humanity and society as such. And let me just pick three that are particularly pertinent for EPFL as a technical school. For instance, currently only 49% of all children are attending secondary school. We have this year as one of the 3 warmest years ever recorded. So the climate challenge is a very important challenge, and actually pollution in the sea is a major challenge. Think about the plastic in the oceans. So one goal that we could set out is that by 2030 every child will have access to an inclusive and quality education, and this is where an educational institution such as ours matters a lot. By 2030, clean technology will produce sustainable power for industries worldwide, and by 2030 all countries should have strengthened resilience to climate-related disasters. These are 3 main goals that we could pursue here on the campus. Of course, many, many more, and actually it's the creativity of the students that is required here. We believe that the campus of EPFL provides a very fertile ground on those fronts, on those dimensions. Why? Because we have cutting-edge technology. We can employ that for the purpose of creating social good. We have research findings to support the implementation of social impact solutions, and we actually have strong entrepreneurship efforts already on the campus. And what I like most is, in addition to that, is that we actually in a location where many have said before that we are probably in the Silicon Valley for social impact. If you look at the institutions that are around us, we have great educational institutions, and we have great international organizations that are pursuing these goals, and those could help us in actually advancing these goals, implementing these goals. Think about the World Economic Forum, the Red Cross, the UN, etc. So when we talk about a social business, we are looking at impact-driven ventures that have a transformative societal challenge that they seek to tackle. We are looking for ventures that are creating a sustainable business model, and they should be scalable. So in that sense, they are not in competition with NGOs and other charity organizations. Rather, they provide another answer to the challenges that humanity faces nowadays. And I think this is a very noble cause that can be pursued. And many of you, and I know it from my own PhD students, from my own chair, have this gene in themselves to try to help humanity progress. And I think this is something where EPFL can play a major role, and technology and cutting-edge technology can play a major role. We are doing that at EPFL already to a smaller extent, and I come to in a minute to what we are trying to achieve with Professor Yunus. We have an impact-driven entrepreneurial community in place. What we want to do is increase our teaching efforts on those fronts. We are about to record a massive open online course on social impact, social businesses, and we want to serve as a catalyst for you all when you want to aspire to become social business owners, entrepreneurs. For instance, we have a program in place called the X Grants, where we dedicate a significant amount of money each year for entrepreneurial projects of students, bachelor and master students. Many of you have heard about this project, and we have, where is actually, don't see her, Victoire. She's hiding somewhere in the middle. She's running that program for me. If you want to have any questions or have any questions about this, please don't be shy to address it to her. Because we have earmarked a certain amount of that budget for social projects, and this budget should be used for creating prototypes, for doing market tests that then can be scaled up with the help of the Yunus Center. This brings me to our honorary guest of the day. One of the quotes I like most of him is, all humans are born entrepreneurs. You probably explain that in a minute, what that means. We are here today to welcome him, and we are celebrating a special occasion. It's the occasion of the establishment of the Yunus Social Business Center here in Switzerland. We are the home for this center here at EPFL for all of Switzerland. So if you're coming from another institution, please feel free to reach out to us. We are truly happy to work with you. That said, I'm not introducing our guest. We have made a special contest actually last week, and the first winner of the Model United Nations Association Public Speaking Contest is here with us. It's Laura Sofia Segura Ibarra. Laura, please come to the stage and introduce our guest speaker of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for your presentation. Professor Mohammed Yunus is a Bangladeshi social entrepreneur, banker, economist, and civil society leader who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for founding the Grameen Bank and pioneering the concepts of microcredit and microfinance. He established the Grameen Bank in Bangladesh in 1983, fueled by the belief that credit is a fundamental human right. His objective was to help poor people escape from poverty by providing loans on terms suitable to them and by teaching them financial principles so they could help themselves. Today, the Grameen Bank has over 8.4 million members, 97% of whom are female, and has lent over $12.5 billion since its creation. In 2006, the Norwegian Nobel Committee jointly awarded the Nobel Prize in Peace to Professor Yunus and the Grameen Bank for their efforts to create economic and social development from below. Professor Yunus studied at Dhaka University in Bangladesh. Then he received a Fulbright scholarship to study economics in Vanderbilt University. Afterwards, he received his PhD in economics from Vanderbilt, and the following year became an assistant professor of economics at Middle Tennessee State University. Returning to Bangladesh, Yunus headed the economics department of Chittagong University. He has focused in spreading and implementing the concept of social business to solve global social problems in health, education, and poverty. The definition of social business refers to a business that is non-dividend, non-loss, that is created to solve a social problem, and the profits are reinvested back in the business itself. On behalf of EPFL, we are honored to welcome Professor Yunus on campus to give a public conference entitled Social Business for a World of Three Zeros: zero poverty, zero unemployment, and zero net carbon emissions. Please join me to warmly welcome Professor Yunus. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a very happy moment for me and a very significant moment for me in my journey to be here today, because this is important that I come here and talk to you, students and the faculty members, and talk about setting up the Yunus Social Business Center here, because this university is a powerhouse of ideas and technologies and scientific discoveries and so on. And that's what we are looking for. once we can divert, we can direct this power into solving problems, our struggle, our journey becomes so much smoother. So with the enthusiasm that I see that is taking place here and the way you responded to our work, I see our next journey will be much smoother, much more effective and efficient. That's why it excites me. And thank you for this collaboration that we start today. I'll briefly go over what we have been doing. It's back in 1976, where I was teaching in the university, Chittagong University. I was trying to see if I can address the problem of the poor people in the next door village. And I kind of disowned everything I taught. I said I learned a worthless subject, economics, which doesn't work for people. That's the kind of grudge I had with the subject itself. And in moments of anger, I disowned it. And ever since, I became a kind of a fugitive from the university campus. I'm doing something else in my own way. I don't want to debate. I don't want to go into big research projects. I just do the things I think is appropriate in my eyes, and I go ahead and do it. In the process, I defy everything. And in the beginning, people get very upset because I'm defying things. But gradually, they get around. Maybe he has some point. And I get lots of support after that. So defiance has always become my power, my source. I violated all the rules and procedures of the existing system. And in the process, I created a bank, violating all the rules of banking. Basically, I said everything they do, I figured out what they're doing. Every time I learn something about what they're doing, I do the opposite. And that's how Grameen Bank is created. Everything we do in Grameen Bank absolutely, literally is opposite to what a conventional bank would do. And I go ahead with that. And now it became popular in many countries around the world. Almost all countries around the world copy that, use that, and so on. Even we run Grameen America in the United States, lending money to poor women. Today we have more than 100,000 borrowers, all women, in the United States. And with a perfect recovery record, no guarantee, no collateral, no legal document, still our money comes back. We have loaned out about $1 billion so far. Every penny came back without any trouble in every city that we work in, 12 cities. In doing microcredit, I always try to understand why people are poor. This is a puzzling question to me. What's wrong? Because in classroom, as a teacher, I was teaching, like others, that they are illiterate, they don't have education, they don't have any idea of doing something on their own. Maybe they're lazy, maybe they're weak, but poor health. When I come too close to them, I see they're very active, very creative. Their struggle is so hard, still they make it to survive. And I kept saying, the fact that they're alive in all those circumstances of difficulties itself proves they have enormous talent. Otherwise, they couldn't survive in this world. Everything is against them. So in my way, I try to respond why people are poor. And I'll mention that, what I promote and what I say. I said, poverty is not created by poor people. That's for clear. Poverty is created by the system that we built around us. And that's the source of poverty, not the people. It is not self-generated phenomenon. It's an imposed phenomenon. It came from outside. And to make it a point, I try to give an example or an image of a bonsai tree. You take the seed of the tallest tree in the forest, get the best seed, and put it in a flower pot. The seedling comes out. It grows. But it grows 2 feet. It grows 3 feet. It doesn't go further than that. It looks exactly like the tall tree that you saw in the forest. Beautiful replica, but very short. you are looking for the cause. Why this tree doesn't grow? Explanation is very simple. There is nothing wrong with the seed. We got the best seed possible. The problem is we put in a flower pot. We didn't give it a space to grow. I said, poor people are bonsai people. There's nothing wrong with their seed. Simply, society never gave them the space to grow as tall as everybody else. And I give the example of banking system. I said, look, we move on with our life, with the very happy life we do. We don't worry for a second. Half the world's population have nothing to do with the banking system. Not because they don't want it, because bank will never work with them. Making all kinds of explanation. One explanation is they are not creditworthy. And I tried to take that answer back to them. I said, should you banks tell people that they are not creditworthy? Don't you think people should be telling you that you are not people-worthy? That's what the wrong is. And that's what the Grameen Bank came out, showed that it can be done. It can be done in as much sustainable features as any banks can ever demonstrate. But still you don't do it. Anyway, so this is an issue. I said, financial service is like economic oxygen. If we don't have oxygen in this room, we cannot breathe. We'll gasp. We'll get weak. We'll collapse. That's exactly what happens when you do not provide the economic oxygen to the people. And the poor people are the ones who are never provided that economic oxygen, financial services. If you connect them with the financial services, the economic oxygen, suddenly they become alive. Suddenly become the enterprising. They're as good as anybody else. There's nothing wrong with them. But that oxygen is not provided. And then we say they are poor, they are weak. They are weak because you don't provide the oxygen for them, economic oxygen. That's as simple as that. Then I look around. I said, I blame the system. I showed one example that the financial system went wrong. What else went wrong? Then I see something else as I go along with my work and try to explain to the rest of the world why things need to change. I said, look at this. The whole world, all the wealth of the entire world is concentrated in few hands. You know that, but you don't pay any attention to it. Every year, right here near Davos, Oxfam always come back, and every year they present a report. Last year, or this year, in Davos, they said 8 people in the whole world own more wealth than the bottom 50% of the people. 4 billion people, their wealth together, equals to the wealth of the 8 people. A couple of years back, it used to be 64 people have more wealth than the bottom 50%. This year, it was 8 people. What will be next year? Very soon. January is coming. You listen to that. What is it? It will be definitely less than 8 people. I can tell you that. It could be 4, it could be 1, anything. And that's the system we built. The whole system, we call a capitalist system, is built in a way, it's like a machine. You build a machine here. It's like a machine which sucks up all the wealth and pushes under the top. The top becomes like a big, huge mushroom, which keeps growing, expanding, but owned by fewer and fewer people. This year it's 8 people, next year it will be 1 person. Year next, 1 person owning not only 50% of the people, maybe 60%, maybe 70% people of the wealth. That's the system we got. And it's getting faster and faster. So wealth concentration is taking place faster and faster. If you have noticed, if you remember, when Bernie Sanders, US presidential candidate, campaigning, he was always mentioning again and again, 0.1% of the US population. Notice 0.1% of US population own more wealth than the bottom 40% of the US population. And this year, next year, it will be worse. And he even mentioned, just for your, getting back to your memory, one family in the United States, just one family, owns more wealth than the bottom 50% of the entire population of the United States. Just one family. And he mentioned which family is that, Sam Walton's family, Walmart family. These are not bad people, they're good people. All the 8 people we know them by name. We take selfie with them, we love them. They're not monsters. Simply system brings the money at their feet. And they grow. Because system is built on the principle, the more you have, the more you get. As simple as that. And everything is built to serve them, against serving the rest of the people. So I try to draw attention by saying, this is a ticking time bomb, because it's getting worse and worse. That mushroom will become bigger every day, and the people who are controlling or owning this will be smaller every day. The stem which comes from the mushroom, which represents 99.9% of the people, will become thinner and thinner. And if you go below 50%, probably you have to have microscope to see the stem. The wealth is not there. And that will also become thinner. So that is the mechanism which we have developed, we promote, we teach our students to promote it. We are always told, free market is wonderful, the invisible hand will solve everything, you go ahead, you do your thing. I keep saying invisible hand is invisible because it doesn't exist. Because it's a chaos. Because this serves somebody else's purpose. So how does it happen? And how to undo that? Make sure wealth doesn't go on the top all the time. You stop. First, slow down that process. That's not a big thing to ask for. People, economists recommend that one way to slow down wealth concentration is to tax rich people heavily, so that you take the wealth from them and distribute it for the poor. It doesn't happen. We have a reverse case right now in the United States. You saw the tax bill. The tax bill is to give more wealth to the rich. See, this is said because they control the world. See, wealth is a power, superpower. So the more wealth you have, more controlling power you have. You control politics, you control government, you control media, you control everything because you have it. So nothing will happen to take away things. So that's where we are. How do we undo that kind of thing? In our own work, we, in kind of desperate situation that we have gone through in Bangladesh, as we go the microcredit, it helps, we are excited about things happening. Then we started seeing other problems of the poor people. Healthcare is a problem. If you're poor in health. It goes simultaneously. You don't have to divide it up, but together. And their children are sick, their mothers are sick. You lose your life at giving childbirth. Both you and your child goes dead because there's no health care. So it continues, and you have no water. You drink arsenic-contaminated water. Half the population of Bangladesh has to drink arsenic-contaminated water. In some areas, is a very high level of arsenic. So you are introducing disease after disease into your body, but just by drinking. It looks very clean, but arsenic-contaminated. And you go on, globally you'll see this problem. So how do we undo those kind of things? So every time I see a problem, I want you to pay attention to it in my own way. I don't wait for what others are doing. One became a habit with me. If I see a problem, I create a business to solve it. Usual way you try to solve people's problem by creating a charity, an NGO, a charity organization. You help them bring healthcare, bring education, bring training. These are usual things. I didn't go through the usual door. Because to me, charity is a wonderful idea. It helps a lot of people, but it has a limitation. Charity money goes out, does a wonderful work, but the money doesn't come back. So you have one-time use of the money. So I created a business. Business money goes out, does the work, and it comes back. That's what the business is all about. So I created a business and called it social business, different from the conventional business. And I call it social business. And define it by saying it's a non-dividend company to solve human problems. I took the whole profit idea out of the business. So the profit became a kind of a cornerstone for me to look at. I said, that's where we went wrong. In the entire capitalist system, we misinterpreted human beings. And that's the starting point of all the problems that we created. How do we interpret human being in a capitalist system? It starts with the proposition, human beings are driven by self-interest. Self-interest is the motivation why human beings do all the things we do. I said, sounds okay, but that doesn't sound like a real human being who is always motivated by self-interest. This is selfishness. Self-interest means your selfishness. I said, if you define human being only by selfishness, you are not, and you are completely off the track. Real human beings that we meet every day, that we talk to each other, are a mix of selfishness and selflessness. But the selflessness was not allowed into the business world, into the whole theory of capitalist system. So we all are fitted in our classroom, in our teaching, in our homes, fitted with glasses with dollar signs. We see the world through dollar signs because we want to make more money, more money. That's what became. Not only we want to be rich, we want to be super rich. That's why we went all the way up. We created all the institutions to help us do that. I said, if we reinterpret human beings slightly differently, then it becomes different. It has now completely different story. Selflessness. We create selflessness-driven businesses. And that is what we call social business, where we are not doing business to solve problems. We are solving problems to, we are creating business to solve problems. Then technology comes to help it. Suddenly technology has a meaning in solving human problems. Because until now, technology is only for helping people make more money. Because that's the only game in town. The moment you put another game in town, which is solving people's problem, technology becomes super effective in addressing the water problem, health problem, any problem you want. And that's the way we go. Another misinterpretation of what we have done in the capitalist system, we interpret all human beings to work for somebody else. We have to work. That's why we teach in our classroom, work hard so that you can get a good job with a good company. I challenged it. I tell all the young people of Grameen families, forget about jobs. Job is an old-fashioned idea. It's an obsolete idea. That's what ruined our societies. I say, you tell yourself, I'm not a job seeker, I'm a job creator. Behave like a job creator. And human destiny is about entrepreneurship. Human history is about entrepreneurship. Be an entrepreneur. You are a giant of a human being. Why should you compromise all the creative power by fitting into a little slot and become a small, tiny human being? You be what you are. So all human beings are born as an entrepreneur. But capitalist system has directed us in the wrong way. And as a result, we created all the problem. If you're all working for whom? Ultimately, we're working for those people who are making all the wealth for themselves. That's the system is providing. So we are basically mercenaries. Mercenaries to make other people make all the money. And then we later complain that, why did you do it? We help them. I said, we become entrepreneurs. It's possible. If you all become entrepreneurs, there'll be nobody to work for other people to get super rich. Because we become catcher of wealth ourselves. We catch our wealth, so the wealth concentration will not exist. If you have social business all around us, social business doesn't contribute to the wealth concentration because there is no profit there. It's a non-dividend company. It is all devoted to solving problems. Not only we solve problems of all kinds, at the same time we solve the problem of wealth concentration. So basically what I'm saying, to conclude, that the civilization that we built today on the basis of what capitalist system has taught us is a greed-based system. We have to transit from the greed-based civilization to a civilization which is caring and sharing, bringing all our human values into the picture. And that's why I was talking about the 3 zeros: zero poverty, zero unemployment, zero net carbon emission. Zero unemployment, because if everybody becomes entrepreneurs, there is no question of employment. I said the whole problem of unemployment is created by the concept of employment. If we didn't have this concept of employment, there is no problem of unemployment. So it misdirected us again. And I cannot believe a young person with all the capacity, all the creativity, all the technology in his and her hand, sit there, do nothing, call himself or herself unemployed. As if system has put a spell on that person. It's not a human being. Human beings are always a go-getter, get things done. But we took away from the young people that spirit of go-getter. So our job as a young people here is to challenge that civilization, create a civilization where we are real, truly human beings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your insights. We have time for 3-4 questions. If one or more of you want to. Way in the back. Can you speak loudly? Oh, we have a microphone. Okay. She's the youngest member of my team, so that she's the sportiest person. Who's in the... Yes. Who would be next in the queue? Over there, yes.
Okay, Mary Jim Buer from the College of Management of Technology. I have a question about the education system. What do you think needs to change in our education system from primary school all the way to university in order to make this happen? Thank you.
First, starts not only primary education, starts at home. Every parent, I'm sure there are lots of parents here, every parent should be discussing with their children, you have 2 options in your life. You can be a job seeker, you can be a job creator. You can be an entrepreneur. Make your choice. Instead of saying, prepare yourself so that you can get a good job with the best company in town, etc., etc. So you have a choice. You have a choice to be your own. You choose your path. This is very important. And when it comes to school teaches 2 things. One, that you have 2 choices. You can be job seeker, you can be an entrepreneur. And when you become an entrepreneur, you have 2 choices. You can create a business to make money for yourself. You can create a business to solve people's problem. Any problem that you like, you can solve it. That's in your capacity. And you can do it. Think about which you want to do. And you can do both. You can create a business to make money. At the same time, you can create business to solve problems. There is no conflict in that. Because you have both. You have selfishness and selflessness. How much of selfishness you have, how much of selflessness you have, time will reveal. Because you will start expressing yourself through your working, through your designing, through your businesses that you do. Those are the things. And best of all, that you have in the education, while you teach all the subjects in the world, you have to teach a new subject. Who am I? Because education doesn't teach me who I am. This is a very important issue. And what is the purpose of my life? Unless I define a purpose, my life will be kind of a random movement back and forth, not knowing what I'm looking for. So young people should be encouraged to figure out what the purpose he or she defines for himself or herself. In every class, they should be discussing among friends. What is your purpose? What is my purpose? And discuss why I say that, why you say that. And then continue in the next class. You spend 1 week, 1 hour, 1 day, whatever it is, but it is a fundamental issue. Once you have that, you'll make it happen. Thank you.
Hello, Professor Yunus. My name is Nat Wong, and I'm a global shaper from the World Economic Forum from Geneva Hub, and also I'm a founder of a nonprofit called Water Inception. We promote, actually, we try to raise awareness about a world water crisis, and what you said about the people in Bangladesh drinking arsenic water, contaminated water, kind of hit the nail on me. And I was thinking, you know, we promote technologies that can basically produce drinkable water by condensing the humidity from the air, which kind of prevent from any contamination. But I wanted to know if you could share with us maybe some of the initiatives that you have seen through your different organizations that are trying to tackle the water crisis. Maybe share with us what you have seen. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a big issue that continues. We tried in our own way in Bangladesh. We tried to bring tube well in the villages, give Grameen Bank loan to set up a tube well for each poor family so that they can have clean water. We are very happy that everybody has a tube well and have a hand pump to get clean water. But that became the source of arsenic. Later on, we are told it looks clean, but it's contaminated with arsenic. So again, you have to find out which one beyond the level that is acceptable. So that we are abandoning that. And we have joint ventures with the big water company like Veolia in France to create a social business to bring water in the villages. We're still working. Danone is another company who is working to bring together with us in water in the villages and so on. So we are in contact with, also we are in the research organization to help us design water purification methods in so many new technology that's available. It's easy to install, easy to provide, and a local entrepreneur can run it, those kind of things. We'll be very happy with the technology that you bring, because we have the marketing, we have the entrepreneurial ability in the villages to make it happen. Thank you.
Time for one more question. Who wants to have the honor of the final one? He's raising his arm. Okay. Can you fill that? Okay. Maybe just wait for the microphone.
Yes, Ahmed Bifardi. To develop social business, you need more investment. And since this social business doesn't make profit, those people investing in social investment needs to invest in a capitalist-like system to make profit. This means that social business is dependent on a capitalist-like system to develop. And are there conditions for people investing in social business, for example, only those who collaborating with enterprises which are socially responsible and environmentally clean, to encourage people to get engaged in only socially responsible companies?
Two ways I'll do that. Our experiences. Not only there are people who would like to address problems in their own, with their own money to create social business. That's one kind. The foundations and people who are already giving money to solve those problems. And instead of giving them as donations, as charity, they can invest. Or they can give donation money to a social business, which will convert it into capital to recycle. So that's one other way to make it happen. Because a huge amount of money in the hands of charity organizations, donations, and high net worth people have their own foundations and so on. So that's available. So this is one kind of thing. Now another trend has begun, and we are very happy with that. Big companies become very interested in our work. They want to create social business as a separate business. That's what we recommend, that instead of your original company trying to achieve everything through the company is extremely difficult because you're tied to the stock market. So you're always looking at the stock market. So if your eyes are glued to the stock market screen, you cannot do anything for the society because you're always to give shareholders people. So why don't you get out of that barrier and create a social business which is not subject to stock market scrutiny? So create that. Many have done that. Danone has created an amazing thing. He has already created social business in Bangladesh with us, and now is doing globally, created a social business fund of their own, put a lot of money into it, nearly 100 million euro, to make social business in different countries, support them. Credit Agricole has created a social business fund so that they can start social business. They have Credit Agricole has a microfinance fund so that microfinance can be supported from that. That's coming out of the Credit Agricole as a donation, but create a foundation to do that. So this is another way. Many family-owned companies, the family gets so excited, they said, forget about all the money, I want to do this. So they want to do that and create a parallel social business. There are many examples of it around us. Only thing is missing to let them know about it. That's where a university like this is very important. Through your students, through your faculty, when you talk to the business people, explain the options. All we are talking about options. We are not forcing anybody to do anything. If you have that selflessness inside of you, we don't deal with the system. We're dealing with the people. So that's where our strength is. If that selflessness exists, as I said it does, then there's no problem. Money is a small piece of it. And I try to explain to them the incentive part that you say, it's a big incentive to profit. I said making money is a happiness. That's why it's an incentive, but this is not the only incentive. Making money is a happiness. Making other people happy is a super happiness. So you have to choose which happiness you're looking for. So once you're convinced that yes, touching other people's life is really super happiness, you will abandon everything else. Thank you very much.
So one thing is clear that you made lots of people super happy today by coming.
I'm super happy too.
We have a little gift for you, and I want to use that opportunity to introduce Bea Scarioni, who is heading the Social Impact Initiative at the Vice President for Innovation and also works with you and the whole team on setting up the Yunus Social Business Center at EPFL. We have a little gift for you that is on purpose. It's a very special pen from Switzerland, from Geneva, from a family-owned business, from Carandache, with a special date on it for today. And we have given you a pen also with another purpose. Congratulations. And because we have 100 books here, 50 in French, 50 in English, and Professor Muhammad Yunus was kind enough to pre-sign them. We have more than 100 people in here. We have about 420 or so. We are completely booked out. You get the book under the condition that you tell your whole family about its content, okay? That means you read it and then you tell it. If you can promise to this and look this gentleman in the eye, you get a book and he writes the name to you in the book. That said, I thank you very much for coming.